Yep. Good afternoon, everyone. Good to be here. Most of the time, people ask me, why the P in your name? And I always have one answer. And I said, the P in my name distinguishes my own Sampson from the Sampson that Delilah defeated. So this is the Sampson that defeats Delilah. Okay? All right, so I'm going to talk to us about the future shape of banking. And I made a comment underneath my title, which says, the status quo is no more, but the need for banking services remains. So I thank PyCon for this opportunity. This is actually their world, and is our world, because PyCon, as we know, have distinguished themselves in the solution industry. They are solution providers, and what is more, we can't take a step without them. You know, banks are not technology companies, but we partner with institutions like theirs to deliver customer experience and customer journey. And that's where the future is going. So let me quickly start my slide by quoting our popular friend, Bill Gates. Bill Gates said, banking is necessary, banks are not. It's a strong statement. And you can imagine he said this many years back. So these are visionaries. They are seeing today, you know, as far back as when this statement was made. It may not make a lot of meaning, because then what was driving force for us, you know, banks were your size, your capacity, your license, and what have you. And you look at some small organizations and say, what can these ones do? And that was the life when this statement was made. They're so real and clear now that that is what it is. So let me provide a little insight to that comment he made. So the implication of the comment he made as far back as that 1990 is that he's seeing no more walls in the banking world. So will people need banking services? They need banking services. They don't need your beautiful edifice. They don't need your products. It's not about your products. You know, everything revolves around the customer. So the customer is not only the king, customer pays salary to all of us in this kind of situation. And what he's saying here is that the customer has the charge to determine what he wants and how he wants it. So it's not about your building, it's not about your products. It's about what the customer wants, how the customer wants it. And that drives every other thing. That drives even your technology uptake and so on. Because when we talk about technology in banking, no bank is licensed to be a technology company. And that's why for banks, we deal more, we emphasize more on digital journey, digital technology, not just technology in the real sense of it. Because these are twin brothers, but there's that slight difference. It's just like when you have identical twin. It still does not mean that the parents will not know who is what. They will give the names and they will know who, you know, even though they're identical twins. So that's what you see when you talk about technology and you talk about digital. Whereas technology drives more on the activation or say use of tools to produce an outcome, more like basic, you know, that discussion about technology, you know. But when it comes to digital, for me, we call it digital empowerment. When it comes to digital empowerment, you are talking less about technology and more about choosing the right technology. You see where I said they are identical twin. One cannot do with the other. But there's difference when you are choosing the right technology to deliver the customer experience than just having one robust technology. I can give you an example. I had a bank that I said I was not going to use their app for anything. The app, the bank cooked such a strong, powerful app and said, this is so strong, powerful app, but there's no customer joining it, nothing. If you want to do anything, you will almost need to become an IT person to use the app. And that's the difference. And that's where the digital journey comes in, because that is what you rides on that technology to deliver what the customer wants. So customer centricism is the key survival strategy in the future banking we're talking about. And that future is now. Another thing is, how flexible are you to adopt evolving business models? How flexible? You have to be highly flexible. That's why people talk about agile technologies these days. You have to be very flexible, and your capacity to respond to the environment in such a swift manner counts. Take, for instance, nobody knew that the COVID will strike. And even when COVID struck, nobody knew that it was going to get us to the level where there will be total lockdown, that people cannot do anything. You cannot even have that opportunity to drive to your branch or to do anything, even businesses, and people have to survive. So how do you respond to such situations? Do you fold your hands and say, well, this is beyond us, this is nature, there's nothing we can do about it? No, that's where we come in. And that's what we decide who you will be and whether you will run sustainable business in the coming age. So there are some hard facts. So those hard facts are that digital transformation or innovation will be the pivot on which the wheel of future banking will rotate. It's happening already. That future is now. That future is now. And then one of the things that we will see is that the whole thing will move more towards what we call BYOD, bring your own device. So as much empowerment banks can give customers to sit at home, to sit in their offices, to see wherever they are, to be driving and doing satisfying their banking needs, the better. If you still have that journey where the customer must come and interface with your branch staff and so on, just know that you are counting your days, So the future banking will be that fierce. Competition will be that fierce. It's not about banks. I know, in fact, these days we fear the tech companies more than even the bank. We fear them more than the banks. They've eaten deep into what used to be the exclusive preserve of banks. Therefore, if you don't wake up and you are still thinking about you or your business the same way we were thinking in decades back, then you're already gone, Now, let's even check how innovation happens in our age. Before now, innovation used to be like a lifetime journey. If you check in 1821, electricity was invented. Everybody was like, wow, and it took ages again. We talk about automobile by Carl Benz. Everybody said, wow, it took another, decades upon decades. Radio was invented, and then decades upon decades, television was, just like that. That was the age before. Now it happens with the speed of light. In the world today, change is the name of the game. It happens with the speed of light. So any organization that cannot respond with that same pace and speed is gone. I put just this example so that we understand when we're talking about this change, when we're talking about this digital journey, digital transformation, so that we'll be able to know that it's not about technology. You can be technology giant, but if you don't have that digital transformation and you don't have that ability to navigate through what the environment wants at that moment in time, your strength will almost be gone like the wind. So when you check the BlackBerry, for instance, at a point it was symbol of business professionals. It was such a robust machine they placed in the hands of professionals, and we were using it with pride. and we thought the whole world ended in our palm with BlackBerry. Okay, so within a decade, within the same decade, it died. Within the same decade, WhatsApp exploited its myopic closed loop system and became the leading messaging platform. That's how it works these days. So when you are looking, okay, does it mean that they are not technologically strong or whatsoever? No, they are. But that transformation, that digital transformation, that journey, that power of innovation to capture your values in different way was what played out on them, and they could not survive it, and they became extinct. Now, if you check, I mentioned Alibaba here, just to show some who got it right and who have, have continued to get it right. Alibaba, in less than 2 decades, grew to become the largest B2C marketplace in the world, to the extent that if you combine the Walmart, the Amazons, the eBays of this world, it will challenge their strength combined together, and they are still running. You will all know that Apple is still firing. You see, these are the people who understand the game and who know that transformation is all about it. And the same thing is what you are going to see in the banking industry going forward. So anybody that can't catch up with the pace, 2 things will happen. Either you die or you merge or whatever, but then you can never survive doing carrying on banking services like we used to do in the past. Because what used to count for us in those past period was our size and our capacity. When you mention your liquidity ratio, your size, your regulatory power behind you, we think that's all. Customers don't even want to know whether you are licensed or not. These days, we have seen even small families, we've seen one man just come up with an app and tell people in the social media, this is an app, this is what this app can deliver to you. And people just log in, download the app, trust them to the extent of using your bank cards on those channels and doing their thing. So nobody has your time anymore. And that's actually the world we are in. So any bank that has not capacitized itself to also serve both customers and non-customers has not started the journey. The way we used to treasure our customers, and we talk about our customers, our customers, our customers, our customers, and every product, our customers. Everything we want to do, our customers. That language has changed. We still talk about customers, but not the way we used to see customers in the bank before, as someone who has opened an account with me, have his money in my bank, and so on and so forth, and that's the person you serve. No, these days, if you don't, if you ask yourself, who are the customers of the fintech? I call them tech fins. I came from the school of thought, those that believe that they are tech fins. But let me even use fintech as popularly used. But in the real sense, they are actually tech fins because they are technology companies trying to play in the financial space. We are actually the fintechs, the banks, because we are the financial institutions driving our business using technology. But nevertheless, whatever you call it, those guys out there, they don't even know their customers. They don't even labor to tell anyone to come and open an account and leave your money with me. They just offer services. And guess what? The money in your bank account, the deposit you're keeping for the customers will be depleting, trying to meet those services and the need of the customer. So the customer is not asking you about, oh, my account is X, Y, Z, or whatever. Your card is being, they swipe your card across all manner of e-commerce channels and platforms and pay for their bills, pay for their all the things they need to pay for and move on with life. Now, to even understand, if you check the kind of things we were doing before, or even we are doing currently in terms of POS services, Most banks are busy deploying POS services across big merchants and so on. Meanwhile, those merchants are also thinking of how to survive the future. I'm sure a lot of us on this platform witnessed what Amazon launched recently, the smart card. That smart card, you don't need those POS terminals anymore. You just walk into shop, into the mall, and you shop like never before. You will just almost look like a criminal because no one will talk to you. You keep loading things in the cart. And when you finish loading, as your loading is scanning, it's taking note of what you will pay and so on. It shows you the bill you pay. You push your cart outside and move outside the shopping mall, and no one will stop you because you have to pass through a particular tunnel. And the moment you get to that green spot, your credit card tied to your whatever on the store is already charged. They debit you, take their money, and nobody stops you. You push your card outside, load whatever you have picked, and you go. So they don't even need those your POS terminals anymore. This is how these things are evolving and why we should think smart. And when we talk about bring your own device, these are some of the things customer will prefer as much as possible, especially with what COVID has done in the system now. People will prefer to do things that will not involve them sharing same, sharing buttons, sharing touch points with a lot of people. So whatever you can do for yourself, without, getting to share what every other person uses, is what you would like to do, especially under the new norm. I remember when COVID struck, one of the products we launched as a bank was through our USSD. What we did was to partner with a solution provider, just like PyCom, to come up with how we can enable a customer. Maybe you're in a filling station after buying your fuel. You don't necessarily need to pull out your card, swipe it on the POS terminal, and start punching the same buttons that every other person punched. So we said, what can we do so that you use your own device? And we came up with that solution. So you finish buying your fuel or you finish eating the big restaurants and you initiate payment from your USSD, your phone. By the time you do that, it sends a code. The merchant generates a code and give you. You use that code it gives you because it will just call out the code, no exchange of paper. It will generate a code after typing in your bill and then gives you that code number. You use that code number and consummate the transaction on your USSD. And guess what happens? The POS terminal in the hand of the merchant will print your receipt the same way it would have done it if you have put your card on that terminal. So these are some of the things we use to respond to the environment created by COVID, because trust level of people to share things was challenged, and so on and so forth. And that's how things were. The more you make it personalize the services to customers, the better for you. So a lot of banks that will play strong in the future banking we are talking about will play a lot more on the artificial intelligence. They will play a lot more on the branchless banking, and the Internet of Things remains where to go. So these are the key drivers. Every other thing can happen around them, and every other channel, every other solution, but these are the base foundation. Okay, so talking about the artificial intelligence and machine learning, we are getting to that crazy stage where even when you have a client that coughs by a certain time of the day, you get to know that at this time of the day, this client coughs. Or you get to know that by 2 o'clock, exactly 2 p.m. every day, this client walks into a particular shop and all he gets from there is a bottle of Coke. So since you know, you can actually arrange it on the birthday of that client. He walks into that shop, a bottle of Coke is offered for him free, and they say, oh, your bank has paid for it. Or a Coke is delivered to his house so that he doesn't even have to labor to walk to that shop to pick that Coke at that time, because you have picked all these from what you can see, you know, using artificial intelligence and so on. I also, sometimes I think about all the things institutions, not just banks, are doing with artificial intelligence. And I say to myself, one day, this might get to the level where we may begin to look forward to go back to where we are coming from, because everybody's life will be so much in that open that anything you do, you just raise your hand. Someone is like, oh, you raise your hand up exactly 12 minutes ago. What's happening? And you know, your privacy might begin to be challenged at some point, and you may feel like signing some agreement to say, leave me here, don't view my life. But it's all for good, so long as we continue to use it for good purpose, to deliver what customers need, to deliver products and services that meet the need of the customer and timely. I think that's the way to go. I've already said much about the mobile banking. I don't want to take much time in this presentation. I just wanted to lay the foundation. You know, virtually every bank, and even institutions that are not bank, mostly run what we call app strategy, app first strategy. So whatever you want to do and you're able to get into that app, you know that you have empowered your customer, is actually carrying your institution in his palm, and he can do anything, anywhere, especially because of the interoperability the app offers. So it's the best instrument to drive branchless banking. You know, there are so many other channels to do so, e-commerce that is evolving and so on and so forth. But app gives you wide range of opportunities to do a lot in this space. And then the Internet of Things, like I said, remains anchor, you know, remains anchor. So people and organizations will continue to think about how to improve their journey, the customer journey on these areas. A lot of things are so interconnected these days that you can, the omnichannel experience we offer today, for instance, you can start your journey on the app and you complete it on any other channel. You can start account opening with your app, with your mobile phone, and assuming someone wants to use your app and you hand him the app, your phone. You can get on your laptop and you are not going to repeat any step you have taken already on the app. Whatever you have done on the app before handing your handsets to someone, you just continue from there. If you log in to either through the ATM, through the laptop, and things like that. So that's the omnichannel experience. So it's not about logging in with the same password. That is given, and many people can do that. After all, if it's about the password and logging in, I can actually use the same password across the channels, okay? But the omnichannel experience is where you have that handshake, and it's online real time, that I can start my transaction with this channel, that I can complete on the other channel without having to repeat any step that I have taken already from the device I started the transaction with, you know. So, and that is where the impact of digital transformation will be strong. That's where you can create cost-effective operations, competitive advantage among your peers. You know, everybody will be heading towards the same direction. So it will be a matter of how fast, how agile, how, you know, the kind of journey, the kind of experience you create, how it relates with people and your customer, your target market. That's what will distinguish you, you know. So it's no longer about just the power of the technology you're bringing, but the journey, the value, the innovations that come with it, that will show you, showcase your same services, showcase it at different level. If people have to take 6 steps to conclude a particular transaction on your platform, they want to transfer money to another bank, and they have to work on 6 screens before they complete their transaction. And someone comes to where they just look at their screen and just give a voice command and everything is done. You've lost that customer. Customer convenience is key. And that is where these things are headed. And that is the shape of the future banking. Some of the things we have done recently, in rounding up.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, in rounding up some of the things we have done, we have paid attention to payments, you know, and a lot of things, voice banking, wearables, you know, and a lot of things, and loyalty scheme. So artificial intelligence remains the center of it all and so on. And ladies and gentlemen, I will say thank you.